Okay, so this is a little awkward of a video for me to make just because I talked about the Knicks 2 or 3 days ago, but in that video I mainly just focused on the players. I probably mentioned Fizdale a little bit, but it was mainly just about the potential of Kevin Knox, Mitchell Robinson, all these guys, right? Whereas the firing of David Fizdale, I think I can go in a different direction with this, hopefully, so I'm not just repeating myself from that other video. You know, this is how it goes with the Knicks. Jeff Hornacek, Derek Fisher, Mike D'Antoni, now David Fizdale. He gets added to the list. And the obvious things can be said about whether James Dolan really cares and the competence of the front office people in terms of roster building, in terms of draft scouting and all that stuff. I mean, if you want a quick little rundown, in 2018 they drafted Kevin Knox. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looks awesome. He got selected 2 picks later. 2017, the Knicks selected Frank Ntilikina. Donovan Mitchell went 5 spots later. Bam went right after Donovan Mitchell. 2016, whatever. You can do this for a lot of years, and to be fair, a lot of teams end up screwing that stuff up if you want to get that technical with it. But it's just the Knicks have never really had the diamond in the rough star draft pick. So it's not just the coach's fault, of course. Looking at potential options, I mean, there is Mark Jackson out there who, might have a little bit more of a connection to the Knicks. If you look up some rumors about Mark and the way players and the organization felt about him, not exactly glowing praise, one way to put it. And of course, Steph and Clay, a whole bunch of ISOs, pick and rolls, Jermaine O'Neal post-ups, yeah. It's been talked about a lot. But there's a chance Mark Jackson's gotten better. There's a chance he's not an issue behind the scenes, and, he played for the Knicks, so there might be that connection there. There's, Fred Hoiberg, if you want more of the, X's and O's nerd type of dude with not as much of a personality. I don't really know what the Knicks should be even going for. Like, should they be scoping out colleges for the next Brad Stevens? Just the X's and O's whiz who, Stevens is a little tougher than Hoiberg, I would guess. I don't know. I really do not know what the right option is. Do you go for a hard-ass coach? Do you go for more of a players type of coach? Which one do you think this team really needs? I mean, the Magic elected to do that with Steve Clifford. It hasn't really worked that much, going for more of a win right now type of coach. I mean, they did make the playoffs last season, okay. But should the Knicks really be caring about that? I don't know. I really do not know. I would just hope that the Knicks and whoever's in charge of all that just do their due diligence with finding the right head coach, and it's not just another solid, not great, not horrible coach who gets put into this Knicks hamster wheel of it's exciting when they first show up and this is the time it's finally going to change, and then inconsistency with, well, are we going for star players, are we building up the young guys, and whatever else, right? The way it's happened the past few seasons. I mean, the Porzingis trade was the biggest example of that, and there's conversations you can have about, well, there was no way he was going to stay. I mean, if you really gave him the max offer sheet, what was he going to do? Not accept it? Could have paired him up with RJ Barrett. If you still really had to trade him, then maybe you should have got something different. I mean, a big reason why they did that move is because they were like, well, it gives us the cap space. Okay, but maybe you should have just accepted that no star player was coming, and maybe you could have got something a little better than Dennis Smith and 2 picks and getting off of salary. Granted, I don't know what was out there, but it's just that's just the type of thought process you got to have when the Knicks do this, because it's just kind of more of the same, It's I don't want to just rehash things that have happened, but it's almost like, what else am I going to do? I mean, how many times are we just going to say, is this next coach the one? Is this next guy the one who's going to have these young players between Alonzo Trier, Kevin Knox, Mitchell Robinson, now Julius Randle's in the mix, and Damian Dotson, and RJ Barrett? Like, is the next guy going to be the one? I don't know. I think at this point it's just honestly believe it's not going to happen until it actually happens, and it sucks to say that, but what else? Where else can we really go with the Knicks at this point? I mean, projecting forward, like, yeah, you can have conversations about all those players, as I did to myself in the video a couple days ago. So now it's just like, do you just get lucky? Do you get the top pick? And whether that's James Wiseman or whoever else, I mean, I haven't really done much Googling about this upcoming draft class, but I know some of the obvious names, I guess. But even so, like, with how random the lottery is now, the Knicks might not get number 1, they might not get number 2, they might get like number 7. And if that's the case, well, then you're gonna have to hope that whoever the hell's making decisions knows what they're doing, you know? Other things that are interesting is when a new coach eventually shows up, how are they going to feel about all these young dudes? Because we've seen it with Ntilikina. Like, clearly Fizdale had something about Ntilikina with the inconsistent minutes of a year ago, right? What if some new coach comes in and he feels that way about Mitchell Robinson, where this new dude's like, no, we gotta like show some improvement immediately, and Robinson, you foul too much, so you're gonna play 15 minutes a game, and then, you know, that could cause a whole thing. So, I don't know. We're just gonna have to see with all that. Now, I will say, it'll be interesting if Perry and Mills are both out as well, and then that'll just bring in a whole new regime, and we typically see when it comes to new GMs, new coaches, when it's just a whole new collective running a team, sometimes they like to shake things up, and there's a chance some of these young dudes for the Knicks are just not here next season, you know, trades and whatever else. Now, of course, I did mention it before in that video a couple days ago, so I will say it again, because most of their guys are team options or they're early terminations or whatever. This team will have a lot of space, and there are some dudes in free agency, no like huge stars, but Fred VanVleet, Brandon Ingram, whoever else. There's guys like that who you could bring in, could help you right away, and yeah. I don't know, man. I think I'm done. I've talked about the Knicks a lot the past couple days, and that is what it is. Another coach is fired, and another coach will show up, and maybe that coach will be the one, or maybe they'll just be gone in a year or two, like a whole bunch.